It's unusual for this round.
I think they use it more like turn for heat.
Where, how'd you get way back there?
That's where the table was.
Yeah, I couldn't move tables around.
I didn't know what you were doing, so I just sat over here.
That's the
Do
way.
you have any spare agendas?
Oh, I printed some.
Oh, they appeared. This is.
How are we recording?
We are recording and we are on YouTube.
Okay, I'll call this meeting of the South Thompson Board of Selectmen of April 8th, 2025 to order at 4:02. We're late. PM. And whoops, sorry. Let's all stand and we can all lead ourselves. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of February 11th, 18th, and 25th?
I move approval of the minutes for February 11th, March 18th, and March 25th.
I'll second that.
Okay, further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Public comments for items not on the agenda.
I'm not sure if it's a public comment or an adjustment, but I'm here to request that you please put on your agenda decision of next steps on Maren Grandstrom's contract for forestry.
Yeah, I think Terry had said something, sent something out to us, but yeah, we plan on, or I plan on doing that, or at least asking to do that. Terry, actually you have, I don't have the email in front of me, but you have several adjustments
Yes,
listed that came up and
yep.
I believe one of them is what
The
Son
sil-
was talking about,
the
right?
Silver Maple Forestry contract.
Yeah. Yeah,
Lions Club lease.
yeah,
Sign the satisfaction of stipulated judgment order.
regarding Mango Seafood,
Yes,
okay,
quit claim deed. For the ex-quiet property, 67.
yeah,
That's what it is. And then we had correspondence from Linda Graff.
yeah. And that's on the correspondence,
That's all I have.
and okay, and I have I'll bring it up now, we had hoped to adjust the agenda tonight to hire or vote on hiring a new town administrator. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen. So that's a non-adjustment adjustment. But I do think that we had told a few people, I think including the press, that we had hoped that we would be appointing someone tonight, and that didn't work out. I'm gonna leave it at that, and thank Terry for, I know you don't want to continue to do this, but continuing to do this, particularly how you feel. And Moira, thank you. The minutes are a big help to her. So. What we were gonna do at 4 o'clock, this is gonna be kind of a crazy meeting. I'm gonna jump all around because we were starting at 4 to mainly deal with the budget. But, David has a new hire he'd like to introduce and not make him sit 2 hours. So I said, we could.
He's on his way.
Oh, he's not here?
He's not
Oh,
quite
okay.
yet.
I was gonna say, that's not a new hire next round.
Yeah,
Well, when he gets here, we can take that up. Is there anything else on here that we could just quickly dispose of that impacts someone's personal plans? I don't think there is.
Well, the contract.
Huh?
The forester contract.
Yeah,
I think we can dispense with that. All we need is either a motion or a head nod that you authorize me to contact the forester to include the insurance requirements on it and to take his line of insurance.
it's him or her?
Her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, do you want a motion? Would that be?
Yeah, either way, I'm good just going direct if you guys are all.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I mean, I think we'll just turn that over to you to work with Sandra to work out the details, and I'm good to go. We've already proved it conceptually.
Right,
So, good, okay, so that disposes of that.
Thank you.
Okay,
He is here, Joe.
huh?
He is here.
Okay, let's dispose of that quickly. I don't have his name, I'm sorry.
Jordan,
Jordan,
Liz Warren,
Lismore?
Liz Warren.
Lismore. Okay, David, you want to introduce Jordan?
Yep, this is Jordan Warren. He put in to join the South Fire Department. He is on Warren Fire Department. He's been on there for about like 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years. Works in town 7 days a week and like to help us out, so I can let you give a little bit back.
Yeah, just brief, stand up, tell us who you are, we can get a look at you.
Name's Jordan. I live over in Cushing, found Warren for a while. And then I worked over in South Thompson on West Virginia for the junkyard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I thought about it for a while and then decided to do it, to come over and apply to join. Over there, anywhere from 7 until 8 at night, basically.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
would give us another person who's around town during the daytime, which
Yes,
is,
daytime,
Yeah.
yeah. He can leave work whenever he wants.
oh, okay, great, yeah. I gotta get a job like that. Now, how are we?
You're already running with Cushing or Warren?
Warren,
Warren.
You are firefighter,
firefighter on for Warren Fire.
you've already had 1-2 training or?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
So we're hiring him as a firefighter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just needs
Yeah.
training and stuff.
Yeah, so is there a motion?
I move that we authorize the fire chief to hire Jordan Warren.
No, I'm sorry, what, I missed your name again then.
His last name is Warren, Jordan Luce.
Oh,
Warren.
okay, I thought you said Lindsmore.
I'll
Okay.
second that,
Huh?
I'll second that.
Okay. Further discussion, I just wanna say, please, before you start, make sure you complete all your paperwork. The town office's satisfaction, it's important. All those in favor? Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Okay.
Well,
So Dave, if you wanna leave, we can text you or, I mean,
I'll be reading now.
yeah, I mean, or you can sit if you want, but. Okay. I don't think I wanna change anything else because I think other people may be interested in it, and we told several people that we're gonna deal with budget and then move on from there, so I expect other people may be coming in. So let's go to budget. I don't know how we wanna do this, do we wanna walk through page by page? I came in and talked to Terry today, I had a few questions. She was gonna look up a few things, and I think I have a few suggestions. I know Jeff, you've been pretty deep in this. As well, do we just wanna walk through page by page? I think most of them we just flip to the next page, but. Okay, right off the first page, I just noticed there seemed to be an anomaly in the 23-24 town meeting approval and the actuals, and Terry was gonna look into
And the
that,
actuals are, I don't know what year they're from.
huh?
I don't know what year those actuals are from, but they're not the 324 actual.
So the 23-24 is the same as the budgeted amount? So the actual should be 2787 as opposed to 3596?
I don't know where you're getting those numbers.
No, I don't
35, yes,
Line
it should
six.
be, it should be 2787 and 1778.
Okay, so the actuals are wrong,
They are wrong.
right, for all three of them?
But
Yeah,
for
because
that
we use,
whole column is wrong.
oh,
and I
even
don't know.
even the town administrator?
Well, I just spot checked some and I don't know where
Okay,
those numbers came from.
alright, well, is that something you get a little more maybe get a little more chance to look at before budget meeting?
Maybe,
I just don't want
I will
mass.
do my best, but I.
Yeah,
This is 23-24 we're talking
Yeah.
about, actually.
Yeah, I know, but you know what happens, we get into the budget
Yeah.
committee meeting and something doesn't add up, and the next thing you know, we spend an hour talking about.
Why isn't it?
Why doesn't it add up, and we don't know, so.
I will
Okay.
try, but I've gotta have it printed and ready
I
for
know.
Thursday, so.
I know. Just, okay,
I could probably put the totals in, but when I print out a report from Trio, it's not broken down by selectmen,
yeah, I
town
understand,
administrator.
alright,
But I could put
yeah,
the totals in.
well, okay, whatever you can do, it's not the end of the world, but. And then more importantly, on column W, line 9, town administrator. I'm thinking we need to bump that up.
Want to put up to 56?
I didn't have a number, but I just feel we're not gonna get someone for what we budgeted there. We budgeted 53920.
Yeah,
And I mean, I know we have room to negotiate and it's what we spend on the overall budget, but I hate to go in right off the bat knowing where. You know, 3, 4, hopefully only 3 or 4 grand line.
I guess, I mean, you do have to put enough in there so that you can negotiate. It doesn't mean that's what we have to pay.
No, but I would like to have the flexibility,
Yeah.
if we got someone, if,
Right,
and the only disadvantage to that is that this is public knowledge, so anybody who comes in is gonna look
I
at the
know, we
budget and
put that in
say,
the budget.
and they're gonna say, that's what I want,
yeah.
you know, so it eliminates our negotiation ability.
Well, I don't know about that. That's up to amount.
Well, yeah, I don't mind putting it to 56.
I think we should, I really do, I think we're like,
And that'll have a ripple effect.
yeah, obviously on the FICA. Anything on page 2? I'm just gonna keep going if no one has. 3. 4. I just wanted to call attention, I don't know if I wasn't aware of this, I don't know if you were, but Terry cut her wage from, she's paid 35 as a code enforcement officer per hour.
Yep.
And she felt that when she's working her 10 hours a week in the front office, that we had originally budgeted that at 35, she felt that was overpayment, and so she's adjusted her wage for the time in the town office to 26 per hour.
Wow.
And I wasn't aware of that she did that on her own volition. And I'm not sure I agree with it 100%, but I guess I'm not gonna argue too strongly with her, but.
Well, I would argue with her, except that it's gonna cause her more work. That's right. Okay, cause it's, and here's my reason why I think it ought to just stay the same is. How you divide that time and whether you're doing 2 minutes here and 2 minutes, 5 minutes, then 10. That's a pretty hard line to draw, you know?
It is, but I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, all right.
All right, so thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's a piece of our town administrator that it's
Right.
in, so.
I'll give it all to you if you hire someone.
let's do it for $5.
We're trying, Terry.
I know.
All right, page 5. 6. 7, I have a question. Harry, you dug out that rebuild contract. I didn't think, I thought we were only paying him the down deposit in this budget.
No.
Yes, when I read the contract too, it does say in invoices as received or something.
Right, but he's not gonna cut back to 27, right? Or
No, it's gonna start pretty much right away.
It says down payment due on August twenty
Right,
twenty-five.
and that's because of our town meeting.
Right. But,
And then additional payment made upon invoicing from the company.
right,
So the plan is to have the reval done by April 1st of 2027, which is 2 years from now.
right, which means that between the time we paying the down payment and the time he's finished, we're gonna be paying him periodic payments. So what I put in for paying from our reserve account was based on the number of months in each of those years. So it's,
So is this all budgeted? Is this all in the reserve or are we appropriating?
yeah, we're gonna have to appropriate money.
The 94?
No, in the year after, we're gonna have to probably appropriate some more, because it's not gonna fully cover it.
So the 94,875, you're anticipating would come out of the reserve,
No,
what we budgeted for FY 26.
no, 65,000.
Well, it says 94 on mine.
Mine too, under appraisal, line 154.
No, and I'm talking about where we're paying for it from.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're paying from the reserve only 65,000.
But Jeff is looking at the funding sheet he did,
Yeah,
and
the
that's
fund,
not in the budget. I
correct.
mean, but
There's
that's,
no- You don't
Where's the
see this.
Where's the difference between the 94 and the 65 coming from?
It's coming out of
Appropriation.
appropriation.
Okay, so you're anticipating that between July 1st of 25 and June 30th of 26, that we're gonna pay him 94,875.
Yes, yes,
You're comfortable with that number?
correct.
Okay, that just strikes me as high. It's kind of 6, 1/2 dozen the other,
Well,
because we're
you're gonna
just
pay it,
taking it for, yeah, I mean, you know.
Right, and the reason is because we pay a down payment first,
Right,
and then we pay a monthly or whatever.
Right,
It
but
doesn't-
my
it
impression was,
doesn't really say. It
It
just-
my impression when we interviewed him, is he really wasn't gonna get much done this fiscal year.
Right.
Well, except that. Now, just the opposite, I'm expecting him to get some work done. If we're gonna do an appraisal, a reeval, I want him out beating the woods, I want him doing public announcements, I want him talking to people, coming to meetings. I'm expecting stuff to be done.
In that year
immediate.
period,
Yeah,
that was not my impression.
well, that's what I asked him specifically, before we start doing this. Are you gonna do the public outreach that we normally do?
Yeah, I do remember that, the public outreach and stuff, but I didn't sense there was gonna be boots on the ground.
This year, no, I did not.
I don't know, he said it's gonna take him a couple of years to do it.
Okay.
Boots on the ground, I don't know why we wouldn't expect him to start working right away.
Alright, from a budgetary point of view, I'm comfortable leaving it where it is,
Okay,
but perhaps we need to get a clarification and
yeah,
firm up his work timeline a little better.
Yep.
Cause we obviously have a different impressions. So,
yeah, I hope he's not gonna wait till the last 12 months to
Yeah.
do the work, it's gonna take him 2 years to do
yeah,
it.
okay,
Took 3 last time.
Yeah. okay, so we're good there with the budget. And you know, I think, minor thing, but I think we should change that to revaluation as opposed to appraisal. I think people have a better sense of what that means,
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
or appraisal / revaluation or
I
something.
just changed it to revaluation.
Yeah. You don't mind, sorry,
No,
just
no,
make
no.
more work for you.
That's easy.
All right, 8. 9. 10. 11, real,
I just want, on Conservation Commission,
oh, we're back.
that's not,
Back up.
that's 10, that's 10. right?
Yeah, yeah, I called out 11.
Yeah, because didn't they just send us an email asking us
For
to?
$500.
No, that was a resilience
The-
committee.
Yeah,
And they don't have a budget, and they're talking about this year.
Okay, so it wasn't from the Conservation Commission,
No,
okay. Never mind then.
11, why do I have notes here? No, we straightened that out.
Did we, new generator?
Yes, but I have a thought here. The new generator, we took from reserve, if you flip to page 12, and actually cost 23,174,02. If you look on line 315 under account, column B,
Mhm.
and we had preliminarily put in 26. I think we should take the difference between the 26 and the 23 and plug it into the selectmen's column under W, in case we run into some little sundry issues having to do with switches or electrician or something. And Terry, you calculated that number, didn't you?
28, 26.
Just to give us a little breathing room if we bump into some installation issues. Just a thought.
We're gonna do that this year.
Yeah, you signed a check, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gone.
okay.
Yeah, but you said you weren't confident that it was gonna get done this year, though, right?
As long as I don't know. I
We had to
don't know.
pay for it.
We had to pay for
Or
it,
we didn't have to pay an increase.
Right, but,
and he was hoping that it would be here to be done this year.
okay. All right, if it isn't, okay, fine.
So this 26 should go out, right?
It is out.
Yeah, it's under the department.
Department heads, but not the select board.
Wait, I'm confused. Okay, oh,
Yeah, we took
got
it,
it,
we took
okay,
it out, 'cause
okay.
we got moved into this year,
All right, got it.
the bulk of it.
All right.
Now we're saying all of it, but.
Right.
Okay, 12. 13,
And you notice this on 12, this is where the 19,000 for the new fire alarm system is under, is in there.
On page
Yeah.
12?
Yeah.
Oh, 12, okay.
Yeah,
under 24, 25.
24, 25. You asked where it was.
Line 3, 14.
Yeah, and now I understand David's argument David's thought that, hey, that wasn't my job.
Right.
He's in the building and ground,
Right.
not the fire department budget, so. But on the other hand,
He was the one pushing for it. That's
yeah,
why it was his
and
job.
most of the building goes to the fire.
That's how it
department.
ended up being his job.
But I get what he's saying. Why he wasn't aware of it, I'm not looking at that budget. Okay, 14.
So, but that's since we already spent 3,400 of that
Yes,
Huh?
on what?
oh, the fire alarm system. They needed money.
Oh, down payment,
Yeah.
okay.
Haven't they done something already too?
They put a box in the hallway.
Yeah.
It's not hooked up to anything.
I know,
Box there.
but, but that box
Nice looking
costs
box.
money,
Yeah, it's nice and red.
Yeah, under floats, we never adjusted anything to repair the floats, we have the money to put them in and out. And we have miscellaneous repairs, but that's not gonna cover repairing those floats. This is the money that flows in and out of the boat excise account, so it
Right.
doesn't impact the taxes. I think we should pencil in about $3 more grand under repairs.
Oh. Okay, because I thought we added.
What line are you on?
371, column W. I thought we'd added some there too.
Yeah,
What do you want to add it to? 4?
Line W, column 371. That's just me,
And do
because I know it's got some big treasure treated members that need to be replaced. Some of it may end up being, under supplied or something, but at least get it in there somewhere.
Are you making it 4 instead of 1?
That would be my proposal. I'm not making it anything.
Your recommendation?
Yes, and I looked at it some more when I got back, and I talked to the guy who's gonna help me from the marine company there, and that's even the hardware is expensive, some of it's broken, the big galvanized. So that would be my thought, and it kinda doesn't impact the taxes at all, so. I don't know if that causes everybody heartburn in terms of adjusting sheets and stuff, but.
I'll print out new sheets for everybody.
Yeah, but Jeff does it too, though, on his. Yeah, but that's easy. Okay, 16, we in agreement on that?
Yep.
Okay, 16. And Terry, this is where you're budgeted at 36 an hour,
35.
35. And Terry is hourly, right, as the plumbing inspector?
Yes,
And that's working out okay? Looks like it is.
yep,
Looks like it's right on
he's busier than,
a one-eyed pay guy.
yep.
So much.
Oops.
Laughing.
Somebody up there,
Okay,
they all look muted.
Yeah.
This John.
huh?
Oh, John Cope.
Who?
John Cope.
Huh? I don't see him, I see.
He's the boat.
Oh. Okay. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. I did ask David about column U actuals through March, because he has 32,000 in equipment there, almost 33, and he haven't spent a dime of it. But he said that, and I know that'll raise heads at the budget committee, but he said most of that's either ordered or obligated, and the bulk of it will indeed be spent, so. Just FYI. 21. 22. 23, I think under U, line 629U. Terry was looking into that, I think we got a little bit of a misallocation there.
Yes.
I think we've spent more than,
The $500 under, assistant charges was instead put on the billing. So I moved it from billing. and put
okay,
it
so
back
that's the
where it
only
was.
mistake then?
Yes,
But, having said that, this says we've only spent 7,125 for assistance, which is paramedics from other towns primarily, right?
yes.
And the last bill we got was,
Oh, I forgot that. Oh,
it was way back, like,
yeah, yes.
back in November, I wanna say.
I think there was one in February for a small amount.
Okay, the
Yeah.
point is, we budgeted quite a bit more, but it doesn't, if you look at the actuals, it doesn't look like we
Like
need to.
to.
But if we got our bills in time from
Yeah.
primarily St. George and Rockland, all those, one from Thomaston, right?
Yeah,
That would be a much higher number, the actuals. As I understand it.
Plus, we're not all the way through the year either, so.
Right, and Rockland sometimes actually bills us after the audits come and gone, and we get a bill, and all of a sudden we'll get a bill in August for previous year, so,
I'll try to follow up on them.
yeah. And it's not a lot, I mean, I'm not saying that Rockland's slacking on collecting their bills, but, it's usually, a couple of bucks or something, but, okay, that was 14. 15.
25.
I think you've gone backwards, John.
25. Hi. 26. 27. Getting down to it. 28. Jeff, can you, dispatching,
Yes.
I don't wanna get into a major policy discussion here, but I know that's a shifting sands at the moment, but I guess somewhat, I think we've covered ourselves here.
Yeah, what's due is what's due. Our bills aren't paid until, what, October?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the whole discussion of maybe,
For this year, it's moved.
Okay.
No impact at all on this year's budget.
okay, so the
Because
whole
we paid
discussion
them.
about Rockland maybe taking over, that's that's a year away, or?
Correct, yeah. We've already been billed for this. We already have the bill for this.
We do.
Okay,
So at the end of December, they'll set the budget that's due in 26. So right now, we're good, we're locked in, so.
can you remind me who our ACO is again?
Troy Beasley?
And he must be doing a good job, because I haven't received a complaint in a year.
At least,
Huh?
yeah, at least.
At least a year.
Yeah,
And usually if there's an issue there, we're right, get an air film in a minute. Okay, 29. 30. 31. 32. You'll see a number under U. It shows $19,579 in expenses, and then that is actually the project that we hope to get reimbursed by FEMA for down by, Hueyunk at the village, intersection of Village and Island and by McLuhan's. And actually, it's a little short. Terry's working on that. It's over 20 when there's a few things missing from that. And that's the number that we talked about last week, and I can close a little bit on it when we get there tonight. That had the 80,000 budgeted that we didn't spend anywhere near when we learned we couldn't make it bigger. We can only replace what was there. So, and hopefully we'll get that, and that will reduce the expenses against the public works budget by $20,000. So that's the plan. Oh, and didn't you have an adjustment on the
Yes,
U column?
I moved $7,625 out of ditching, berm removal, and put it under bushing limbing.
Because we did quite a bit of bushing and limbing on Grissom Road and Waterman Beach, and nothing was showing up there, and I said, I know we paid those bills. And it got misallocated. So what does the 13 go to?
What is the what?
Yeah.
It goes to ditching and berm is 6,360,
Yeah, that sounds a lot more like it.
and bushing and limbing is 7,625.
Okay. That sounds a lot more like it, okay. And on page 33, there was a minor glitch there on the paving. I don't know if we were able to sort that out, Terry, or not.
I didn't get to that one.
Okay. To put it simply, Hager billed us for building the tennis courts, paving the tennis courts. And then a couple of months later, they realized they made a mistake and they billed us for Westbrook Street. And they canceled what they had billed us for the tennis courts and rebuild us like $800 more, or $1,000 more, and it all got put to roads. Just the difference, the 2,000 or whatever, so not the original,
Right.
but so there's another $800 or $900 there. I'm watching my pennies.
Yeah.
35. 36. 38. 39. 40. 41.
I got a real quick question.
Yeah,
On general systems,
Yes,
if we in fact pay out $1,500, we don't get $1,500 back, do we?
no, we get 70% back.
Okay.
So when Hannah paid for the MGAs that she had, I don't remember how much came back, but I put it on the GA revenues.
Okay.
So that should be on the revenue sheet.
and that's all subject to change too. There's a big fight going on up in Augusta about that.
I know, and that's why I keyed on it, was because of that fight.
Yeah, although I think that's gonna impact, Portland and Lewiston a lot more.
Yeah.
Than us, so. 41. 42. 43. 44. 'So the ambulance is repaid now. We finished that last year.
Yes.
Or the year, so, yeah, last year, not this year, but even.
And the street light loan will be done in the fall.
So we don't have anything for the new fire truck, so.
Right.
Are we going? Oh, we are gonna pay. No, we borrowed this year, right? We borrowed in this year. And we repay in the following year.
Well, that depends. If we borrow this current year before July 1st,
Well,
then we would pay next year.
Then we would pay.
526.
this one.
But every time I ask David,
I don't
where's the
think-
new truck? Where's it? It's coming, it's coming. It's in Brunswick, it's. I mean,
Getting closer.
getting closer, but so is July 1st. And are we still thinking about borrowing from ourselves?
I think so.
Yeah,
We-
but
we-
even
We're gonna
then-
have to pick different ones, so. I think-
Right, but even then, we're gonna pay interest.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
But probably not as much as,
No, but we
Yeah.
still gotta pay interest, and that really needs to be, appropriate.
Right.
I guess maybe what we need to do, and we can always adjust this at the budget committee, is assume it's gonna happen this year, and I think based on what David says it is. And then if it doesn't, just carry it forward,
Yeah,
cause it's not gonna really impact the taxes, just the interest amount,
right. Right.
which in the first year would be somewhat substantial, but. I'm getting the impression it is gonna happen this year. Which means we need to budget for next year. Okay. Is that a plan?
Yeah, I think
We'll
so.
just wing it at budget committee and see if we get any more info by then. Building loan. So 25, 26 will be the 10th of 15 payments,
I'm sorry.
the building
Yep.
renovation. 25, 26 will be the 10th of 15. 10th of 15 payments?
Yes.
Okay. And the reserves, Terry, you had a question there. We never dealt with the ambulance reserve. We
Right.
Overlooked it.
Right.
I thought we talked.
Or if we did, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I'm showing 90,000.
That was our
that was
actuals.
last year.
Right, but it was based on the assumption that we we're gonna get the same amount from the grant that would go to the reserves, which would be 50,000.
Yeah, it was tied into that grant somehow, right?
Right, so it'd be 90,000, it'd be 40,000, unless we get the 50 as well, and then it's 90,000.
But we didn't budget it.
Yeah, I did in my sheets, so,
You budgeted 90?
yeah.
I do vaguely recommend call this conversation.
Yeah, because all my spreadsheets are showing 221,000 into reserves, which would be the 90,000.
When I add the 90, I get 221.
Yeah,
So should that go into both columns? Probably should, right?
yeah, I think so. Because I think,
That it? Think if my notes here are correct, Terry, I think that paving issue was $551 between the tennis courts. I think that was the difference.
551.
Yeah.
Look at that.
But that'll buy a culvert.
and just as a note, the solid waste co-op is gonna be a level budget. So the same numbers we had last year ago.
And that was in there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And 46, nothing there. 47. Did we adjust for the mowing?
Yes.
Yes.
That was a big increase. 48. 49. 50. Wow. And 51, just the count. And RSU 13, which is not really part of our budget per se, but we don't have RSU 13 currently. And that's it, right?
Jeff, will you do a new funding thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, if you send me the updated expenses, I'll redo the funding sheet.
so we have budget committee meetings scheduled for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if need be Thursday. One of them starts at a different time.
Tuesday starts at 5.
And the Conservation Commission meets Wednesday.
Tomorrow.
Oh, that's tonight, so that's not a conflict, okay. And Brian, and no problem with the fire department next Monday?
Yep.
Brian, David.
Yep.
Still good to go?
Yep.
Budget,
Excellent.
okay. Okay, let's see if there's a few things we can dispose, for. I don't know what time it is. Oh, it's not too bad. Well. Guess we're just, you did tell me we're just gonna move on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You wanna give us an update on the continuing saga of the solar panel?
All right. I did get an email saying we were rejected for our registration number because the year was wrong and no accompanying documents or supporting documents were uploaded. Proof that we put this in place. So I had 35 days from April 1st to file an amended registration request.
You know?
So. We're kind of back where we started.
Well, a little bit further ahead, at least we filed it.
And we have a
I mean,
number.
it hadn't even been filed.
Yeah. It was filed February 22nd, right? 27th.
It was filed the 27th.
We know what they mean by the year was wrong?
It was put in place in August of 25. So that made it the next year,
Oh,
not the year that hand.
I had the wrong fiscal year.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do that.
when I printed out, I asked what they needed for documentation and they sent me this big long thing of. And I printed it out, I just aren't with it yet, but it is.
a little
The
light
clock is,
reading.
the clock is counting, so.
So we haven't lost it yet, but it's not,
Right. And I think if I get the amended one in, we'll be fine.
we probably should update the resiliency committee a little bit. Okay. FEMA grant,
I have an update on that.
huh?
I have an update on that from today.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I emailed Chelsea Lloyd
Yeah.
from Lima. They said the only thing we have documented that we spent is $800.
You're kidding.
But she said if I can get that to her ASAP and put it in the portal, hopefully it'll be all right.
Cause it's over 20. It's the 4 bills from Calic. Tyler cleaning up the rocks down there one day, all over the road. And, a little bit of fire department
And DEP.
and the DEP permits, right? And it was, yeah, it's gonna be 23,000.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Terry, for straightening or starting to straighten that out. I thought that was. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I thought we had everything we needed for $81,000.
David, your timing is impeccable. Discussion of monitoring system and alarm system for fire department. So we're all set with the alarm system.
Yes,
It's just the, whatever that other piece was that you were talking about, that we need to deal with.
yeah.
And, I talked a little bit today with the day, just happened to bump into him, and he said that it won't deal with the phone problem.
It won't deal with phones.
I didn't
No.
think it has anything to do with the phones.
No, what it does is where our phones don't work, it's a loop around our phones, where if our phone notify us and it won't work and they. You know how this building is, where
Right.
phones don't work, this notifies us not using the phone.
So it's an alternative to the
Yes.
phone.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's like 3 issues that we have that, this all would help us with, so.
And is it the same company that's doing it or not?
No,
No.
well, no,
No.
this is, the company that we do all our radio equipment through RCM Communications.
Good.
So they put all of our radio, do our programming for us and all that stuff. It comes through them.
And with the alarm system and this, the total is. What's the total on the two?
Well, the new one was, I can't remember what the alarm system was, I had it here, but.
It was definitely under the
It was
19,000.
10
Yeah,
something.
one was like
10 something.
10,000 something, and this is 6700, I think.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
so
67.
the two of them together is less than the 19,000.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have a problem.
Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve the additional installation.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Further discussion? I guess my only question is. You're convinced there's no other cheaper alternative to this solution?
I'm aware of, no, I don't.
It just, to be honest, especially there's a lot of money just to get around this issue, but
Is there something like a signal booster or something that they could still use the phones with? If you
So-
could boost a
Our-
signal in here?
Our phones is the second line of communication for us, that's not our primary notification. Dispatch they tell us that right up front, that the iron responding that we use is like a second one. So our pages are the number one line of notification for us is and that's, we have to put them on windowsills and spots to get out of the building to be able to have them set off. That's one issue is that with the phones and the pages. The other issue is,
So it doesn't affect just the phone, it affects the page.
yeah, like we can't hear, like if it does go off, it'll be scratchy, depending on where you are in the building, you can't even tell what they're saying.
What do the pagers use for a signal? Like, where does that signal come from?
It comes from the towers
Is
on
it
Bennett Hill.
Cell towers?
It's a radio signal.
No, it's a
Radio,
VHF.
okay.
Comes from the Rockland Hills.
Yeah, Bennett Hill is one of them.
Don't they have a repeater somewhere
Yeah.
too? Yeah.
Up on those hills, they have repeaters.
Yeah.
We have a repeater up on those hills. But that doesn't do anything for
Inside the
this
building.
frequency, the metal building, nothing with that. So that's, that's part of the problem is it's, if it does go off, it's real scratchy. You have to be in the right spot to be able to hear what they're saying. Then the other problem is we have one radio that doesn't alert us. It's on Knox County, so we hear all the tones. So like when you're sitting in here, you hear all the tones go off. We have to keep that turned up, and to keep it turned up enough out there with equipment running, trucks running, everything happening on the bay, it's blasting in the EMS room with the EMS people. So it's, that's another issue. We wouldn't have to listen to the county on the alert system. It would go off when, just when our town phones go off.
And of course, we're talking situations where if you're trying to figure out what it is you got, seconds can make a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, life and death.
There's a code,
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to be there.
Okay, further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, David.
Do you need any signatures? Should we offer them as,
I don't,
oh, you're around now, so never.
I don't believe so. I guess, just a normal vote like.
That's all right, the chair is around now, he can sign.
Oh, perfect.
David, is the alarm system still 10,405 and monitoring 670641? The numbers you gave?
No,
back
that's
on the
670641 is right. The alarm system should be, the only addition on that is that one wire that DC Electric's gonna run to the panel. That wasn't in the quote.
Okay.
Are you having any luck getting them to do work here?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Well, this is the first time, but.
Okay, because I'll talk to you about it, but I need the mast on the Danish shed out there got damaged and it needs to be repaired and I haven't been able to get anybody to do it.
No, I called the guy today, told him that the fire alarm panel is mounted,
Yeah,
so they can run the wire up there. They just wanted to get the
yeah,
box mounted.
okay, alright,
And, he said, he thought he could come out today.
okay, alright, well, I'll talk to you later about that, but okay, good, that's good to know. Okay, so I'm gonna put your executive session off to the end, or near the end. Are you folks here for one particular item or multiple items or,
All of them, but A in particular,
huh?
but A under new business, yes.
And I can take you up on our order if you want.
Well, that's next.
We're here.
Oh, we're there anyways. Okay, resiliency committee. So we all got a letter from Neil asking for $500 to allow them to do a survey. My understanding is from Terry that was, they weren't asking for a budget item for next year. They were asking for $500 out of this year's budget that we find somewhere for this purpose. So, pleasure of the board. I know they're working hard and they seem to be doing a good job.
I'll make a motion for discussion to approve the request for $500 for the resilience committee.
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion?
So if this is gonna be an annual requirement, right? You're gonna need this every year.
Not necessarily,
No?
when we do, that's something. This is the first time we've had to, but we have to keep up with certain things, to get for the funding.
So my real question is, where would the resilience committee fall in our budgeting? I mean, it is a town committee, right?
Yeah,
Without a budget.
Without a budget. But there's no place in the budget to
We
even
could
have.
stick them, I mean, we have two committees, we have planning and appeals board in the same budget.
Yeah.
I suppose you could call this planning. You know? I'd almost rather do that than create another.
Right, yeah, I don't disagree. I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
in my mind, figure out if this were a standing requirement.
But, I just heard that they don't know, you're not certain if it's a standing requirement, so. Well, why don't we deal with this and then ask the resilience committee when we do budgets? To see if they need something for, well, no, that's too late.
Yeah, that's what.
That's the problem, right, yeah. Moira?
Jeff, where are you taking the 500 from to pay this?
Reserves, I mean, not reserves, surplus. Since they don't have, there's no line, almost has to come from there.
All right, further discussion on this year's request, the current year that we're in. $500 for this current year. Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, I should say. And friendly amendment that we're gonna take it from surplus, okay. And then, I guess, we could ask you folks, we're right in the thick of preparing budgets next week for next year, which is July 1st to June 30. So if you maybe could come up with a little more information, if you needed 500 for next year, then we can perhaps plug it into the budget next week at the budget committee. And then you don't have to come here at the end of the year. Yeah. Or anything else that you might need to keep going, so. Okay, all right, thank you. Pest control. Do we need, I don't feel like we need to spend a lot of time on this. I personally think that we just need to put a few traps out and we need to clean the food service up. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, look again, the bottle thing is still. I mean, they say that's the worst thing, but attracting ants is those soda cans that sit there and they've been there now a week. And I think it's just gonna be a collective staff effort, whether it's ambulance and the front office. I've seen things on, not your desk, but some desks. And I personally don't wanna get into some $250 a month.
I don't think.
But at
we need
least
to.
trying to clean up the food service.
Well, they said the ant traps worked, right? Didn't we do ant trap? Or-
Yeah.
Once we put downstairs, the lines I'll put downstairs.
But we're fighting them with soda
Right.
cans sitting there for a week, you know? and-
That's just in one spot.
and I
What do you
think,
mean?
Like the old chief's office, the ants are bad in there, they're crawling all over stuff.
Well, I
There's no
know.
food in that office.
Well, I know, but the ants
But if
migrate.
you, but
I mean, they know.
if we put ant traps out, they work. We, at the school, we have the big extermination system, and it does not work. We have ants, we have rodents, and it doesn't take care of any of it.
and I think Hannah put it out in November and that was it. It was, no, they were not put out again, and I went to Lowe's and there's some in lots of corners around here. And I don't remember her name, but she came and got some to put in your old office this afternoon.
Same.
My question is mice. I have to tell you right now, I am not touching a mouse trap. I'll be happy to get bait traps and put them out, but I'm not emptying a mouse trap.
I don't blame them. Or,
And why is that?
Yuck.
I have a set of mouse tongs.
I think so.
I used to pick up
Where you have a
mouse traps
question?
I was just gonna suggest that with ants, that liquid ant traps are the best, and you should put them out around your building, because the ants are coming from inside, from the outside coming in here, and if you put them all around the circumference of your building, and make sure that you check them monthly to make sure that, the liquid, if it's all gone, you gotta replace them, because that's the best way to enforce it, because they're taken back to their nest
Right.
and they have poison, so it's killed. And just ask people to rinse out their bottles before they put them in the
Mhm.
container,
Well-
so there's not the sugar.
Exactly, and
And just
you know, a lot
put
of
a
times
sign.
there's dishes in there, and I'm not blaming anyone in particular, but the ants do move, they migrate from one section of the building to the other.
But if you get around the outside of the building,
Yeah.
that would be the best thing to do.
So the point is,
The
I think we
terror
can,
ones,
Those little clear ones, like right
Yeah.
in there, but you,
yeah,
they have a little point and they just stick in the ground also, so that way, cause that's how we do it around.
Yeah.
We've noticed in the last 6 years, ants coming in the early summer, so we just do our whole house around it.
yeah.
I guess my point is, I think we can attack this administratively, if we can get everybody to cooperate, put some ant traps out, mouse traps, I'll empty the mouse traps. And try to minimize the food source. And get all the employees on board to be thinking along those lines. Whether it's office staff or me, I mean, well, it's water, but. Have we killed this one?
Yep.
David, could you pass the word to the ant people just to try to keep things, we got a problem and. You know, every little bit helps.
We can put up a sign to rinse your cans.
Yeah,
And, those cans are all the public, it's not just the ants.
no, I
Those
understand,
dishes or everyone that works here.
I
I just
understand.
wanna make that clear, that this is not just the ambulance and fire service.
No,
This is-
no, but the bulk of the dishes are the ambulance, I mean, from what I've observed over the years, I mean. And some people are very good about washing, they wash them right away, and other people. And I realize if you got a call, you throw it in the sink and go, I get that, but.
Yeah.
You know. Not blaming anyone in particular, but if everybody cooperates, and they're the staff that's around here more hours than anybody else, so,
No, that's the line.
thank you. Is Barry coming?
Oh, no, I got a, text from him, he's sick and he can't make it.
Okay, let's skip the building permit fees and jump back to them. Discussion of citizens' request for town highway master and or ordinance regarding derelict boats. That was a request from a citizen who just said he can't make it, so I'll take a motion to table this
So moved.
Second.
discussion.
I just wanna put out my opinions on this. We have discussed this particular topic many times. And even went as far as proposing a town ordinance for harbor master and trying to get the town to approve hiring a harbor master, and we were shut down very viciously, we'll say.
Certainly adamantly.
Adamantly, okay, we'll use the word adamantly, if that works. So this, for me, this is like, police, and ambulance. I'm willing to help anybody who wants to push this effort, but I am not one that's gonna push this.
And I echo those sentiments. I mean, I think this happened a couple of times and all of a sudden it becomes, we're pushing it.
Right.
When we weren't behind it, we being the board, when we weren't behind it at all. And, but no, we weren't necessarily opposed to it, we were just. You know, so I'm the same way, I mean, this to me has to come up. What's the word, organically from more than one person who's in the fishing business. I mean, if 30 people come in here, or we get letters from, say, the co-op and the other buying stations, I mean, that's a different kettle of fish to me, but for just one person. And I understand he had some damage done because of a derelict boat that drifted, right?
Was it the one with the ice, took it down river?
think it's in the river.
Well, now it's back in the channel. It sunk once and now the ice took it. Both. And it's lucky it didn't go into the oyster farm.
And you know, I guess there is a difference between a derelict boat issue and a harbor master, but
Yeah.
who's gonna deal with the derelict boats?
Harbor master.
Well,
I know.
I mean, but there are, I mean,
There might be other ways.
there,
to do
there
it.
are other organizations that are responsible for derelict boats, even if you have a harbor master.
Like whom?
The,
Marine fisheries?
yeah, inland fisheries, and, Army Corps of Engineers. If it's a hazard to navigable waterways, then Army
Yeah,
Corps of
fine.
Engineers,
Getting them to come take up
I don't
an
disagree.
18-foot boat.
I
Does
don't
anybody know who
disagree.
the owner of the boat is?
Yep.
I called the Marine Patrol when it sank.
Yeah, they don't seem to do much either.
No.
And they came and it got, but before it got, they came out, a couple people pumped it back up. And so.
But they did come out, right?
The owners of the boat came
Yeah.
out and pumped the boat up.
All right, well, we'll table this the next. I mean, I think we owe him a chance to speak
Yeah,
to us.
I don't mind him talking.
Okay.
Vote on your motion.
Oh,
Sorry. Yeah, and actually, now that I think about it, motion to table is non-debatable, but that's okay.
we
Yeah,
still discuss
seconds.
that. We still discuss.
All those in favor of tabling, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, request from the ambulance director to use the old fire chief's office for a bunk room for the per diems, even with all the ants?
Hopefully we clean them up.
I personally have no problem with this, although I do think you're gonna run into trouble with the fire marshal's office, but as far as I'm concerned, go for it. I understand you moved your office out back. I don't know how others feel, but if David wants to investigate what he needs for permits and stuff to make that happen, I'm fine with that.
I don't have a problem with it either.
Yeah, so you have to put an application in and there's a fee for the application. I don't remember what it was, but
Yeah, I thought I heard somewhere that if it's inside the perimeter, the fire rated perimeter wall, and it has to have a direct outside access, but that may have changed, I might have misheard it, but, so. But there's no harm in asking, I guess, other than the first. Is there a motion to authorize David to investigate this?
I'm so moved.
So,
I'll second that.
further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Geez, this is deja vu night all over again,
I know
yeah.
it.
Discussion of proposed shared sheriff's deputy contract. This is, I guess, something that came up in the town of St. George, reaching out to South Thomas and all said to see if there's any interest in pursuing a contract with the Knox County Sheriff's Department for a deputy. The annual cost would be $120,000, $40,000 between each town. That's assuming you split it 3 ways. There are other ways this could be split, but that's neither here nor there, like population or miles of roads or whatever. So same thing as before, I mean, we got, in this case, we did get viciously attacked and shot down.
Yeah,
It
that
was
one,
years ago. The other side of the coin is, year after year after year after year, we have people come in here and complain about speeding and this and that. So I have a couple of technical questions. One is, Owl's Head doesn't even meet until August. I don't know if
right.
they're interested, and if they are they gonna not even vote on it till August? And then we missed the summer, which is when we get the bulk of our
Right.
complaints. I'm not sure that it should be split. A third and a third and a third.
St. George is big.
Seems to me it should be split, maybe some other way, maybe population And geographic areas, St. George is a lot bigger than we are, a lot more, maybe the length of roads or something. I'm just saying if this happened. I guess I'm willing to throw it in front of town meeting, and get some details worked out as a non-budget item. Because I guess, because I've heard both sides of this, I don't feel it's up to me to make the decision.
Oh, I
I
agree.
just throw it up with town
Or up
meeting
to us.
and we're not recommending either way.
Right, that's, you know, that's how I feel, so.
You would be willing to throw it in front of town meeting?
I'm willing to put it in front of town meeting, but it's without recommendation,
Yeah. And it wouldn't be part of the budget.
and it wouldn't be part of the
It would be
budget.
cranked into a budget the following year.
Right.
But it would impact the taxes. I just don't feel a third and a third and a third is a fair split though.
No, I agree.
And I guess I need to know whether Al Ted's on board. Because I certainly don't wanna do it 50-50.
Yeah, that's the other thing, what it comes to.
Yeah. And I guess, and the other thing is, I think the agreement would have to stay, and I don't know if Knox County would be willing to, if one town backs out, the deal's off.
Right.
And I guess I would also ask if the ambulance and fire chief had any thoughts on this matter.
I'll read that one.
Okay, well, I know you see a lot of accidents, I know a lot of them are result of speeding and.
Seems to me like we're paying for a sheriff anyway,
Well, not a dedicated one.
not a dedicated one,
Yeah.
but shouldn't we be getting at least a noticeable coverage?
Mm-hmm.
I think they claim we do. But I see, in some ways, some people call the Knox County Sheriff's Department the Warren Police Department.
I don't know the warrants, I don't know what they give them.
No, but they spend, from what I understand, a lot of the high percentage of their calls go to Warren.
Mhm.
Which makes sense, they're the biggest town population wise after the towns that have their own police department, so.
Geographically, they're the largest.
Yeah, and they're up there now, you know, with population wise too. The only place anybody can afford anything in Knox County. So, wanna try to get some more details?
Yeah, I think we should get some more.
That's something you'd be interested in pursuing,
Yeah,
Jeff, some more details? Yep. You know the owl's head and the sheriffs, you know your way around the county better than or I do. So I'll put this on the next agenda, but Terry, would you please make it clear that this is not in any correspondence or whatever, that nothing we're advocating for as a board, I think that was our position. Sue, you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I feel like so many people have complained over the years that who am I to take that decision out of their hands?
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Okay, this will be very brief. I just wanted to report as the auxiliary president, I think you're all aware of this anyways, that the, no congressionally, directed spending grants were included in the continuing resolution, which would have funded the, for lack of better words, a Pingree grant that was still alive. So that's history. I did talk to their office on the House side, they don't know whether there's gonna be a process for FY 26 or not as of yet. They will keep us informed if there is. And then a couple of days after I was told that, I got this email from King's office, which I forwarded to Kevin Bunker and Penny, who was at that time the co-chairs of the facilities committee, asking for applications due by April 15th. So I called back and I said to Shelley's office, and I said, I'm a little confused here. You just told me there was no process, and yet we just got the, and she said they're in two different silos. You know, the Senate has their process, and the House has their process, and as of right now, the House has not indicated whether they're gonna even ask people to go through this process. So, that's all there is to report there. And then we consider request for the library and community center facility to submit an application to send it to the King's office. That's in response to the email I just mentioned. And my understanding is from Terry that at the last meeting, the facilities committee agreed to prepare an application to submit by April 15th. I guess Kevin said he'd take the lead on it. But they realized they needed approval from us. So I don't have any more detail. I don't know how much they're applying for or what specifically, or, and I don't know if you know that either.
I don't know, but John, do you know any specifics on how much and everything?
I'm sure that Kevin is preparing the application based on a full consideration of all the plans that have been done to date. They are actually reasonably complete. There will be changes. Is the kitchen going to be bigger, smaller, library smaller, bigger? But Kevin has a good overall budgeting capacity. So I'm confident that with whatever number he comes up with will be a workable number.
So I do want to ask one question of John and Terry. So at this, I've been out of the loop a little bit, but at this point in time, the plan remains, for lack of a better word, the hybrid plan, where we would use the existing building and hopefully, if it comes to fruition, and hopefully construct an addition, community room of some sort and size.
Terry?
Yes, that's
Okay,
what, that's the way
okay.
I understand it.
I haven't been to any of those meetings, I haven't watched them, I just wanted to, some things change, and when did that happen? So,
It's very specific to that direction.
okay, thank you.
I'd make a motion to authorize Kevin Bunker on behalf of the facilities committee to make an application for the CDS funding from Senator King's office.
I'll second that.
Further discussion, I'll support this wholeheartedly and actually thank them for doing that, because it's nothing the auxiliary could pull together by that time. We haven't met in a long time. And plus, I would like to see the auxiliary kind of morph back to what I thought was its original intent, where it would only apply for grants and seek funding sources if the municipality wasn't eligible. That was my thought and impression of what the auxiliary was first for. And I know, not to take away from the work that was done last year, we were in a hurry, and Barbara and Sandy worked and submitted the grants to King. Just to get them in, kind of, we were under the gun again, and I thanked them for that. I'm not trying to disparage the work they did, but at all. And I think it also gives them, I know Sandy sent to Kevin or to someone the work that they had done last year and a lot of stuff, and that's gonna help them, I understand, with this, prepare this, so. The one thing I think we all need to remember, though, is the grant application at this point can't commit the town to anything really. I mean, you know, we need to realize this still has to go through a process, go back to town meeting, so. So, okay, so with that, footnote, all those in favor? Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
John, while you're on there, have you seen the Maine Coast seafood area?
I've seen it in all its glory. No more dead docks, no more. It's perfect. It looks very cleaned up. Thank you.
Came up great. Big thanks to Terry on that.
Yep, that building is.
Okay, let's go back to the permits. Oh, we got some adjustments. We dealt with Sandra. Lions Club, I just want to get this out on the table. I heard Jeff, I think I heard from you that the Lions Club is contemplating moving from downstairs to Guilford Butler.
That is correct.
And I know we have a lease with the Lions Club for. That's in this packet you gave us tonight, right?
Yep.
And I guess, are we envisioning that it would be a similar type of arrangement with a lease? Or-
Yeah, and to be frank, I think there's only a couple of places where the downstairs is mentioned. It refers to town property. I think that the lease, as it is, could just be amended to,
Change the building.
yeah.
So we could just put amendment A adopted such and such a date or,
Yeah, although this particular, the lease actually is a one-year lease that goes for a total of 6 years that started in February 2020. So it actually runs out in February 2026. So we're basically on the last year of the existing lease. So, and
so would this be dedicated space down there strictly for the Lions use or?
no, it would not. It would not be dedicated, but the Lions would have first right of refusal for using it. They can put their paraphernalia.
I know
up
that
on
was
the
an
walls.
issue before the paraphernalia, right?
Yeah, they'll have a place to store their stuff under lock and key. And so all of the details haven't been worked out, and I think that will actually happen this weekend. Be finalized with Penny.
Okay,
Do you know what room?
I don't know which
You
one,
don't?
no.
so I'm assuming now, obviously this would have to come back, once there's a final proposal, for lack of a better word. This would have to come back for the selectmen to approve it.
Yes,
Because in effect, we're amending a lease that the selectmen approved before.
right.
And I guess I see it a little differently than a group that kind of uses a room down there on an occasional casual basis.
Right.
This is more of a permanent arrangement, and I assume the Lions are after that as well.
Correct.
I mean, they don't wanna be moving around every.
Exactly.
Do we have any insurance issues down there that we don't have here related to
Should be the same.
beverages?
I don't think it would be the same thing there as it is there downstairs. So,
Um,
And,
yeah, I guess I just, in my mind, I'm thinking that's sort of an isolated room that's
Yeah,
shut off from the public entry, or kids walking in or something. I mean, I don't know if that's an issue or not, or,
yeah.
I'm not trying to make a problem out of it, but.
Yeah, I think,
I guess
I don't
I'm
think
saying
it's
that
gonna
been
be-
thought through.
yeah, and once I get a feel for which room it's gonna be, then I'll take a look at that, but yeah, it is a consideration.
Okay.
So,
And that would obviously be. That you mentioned secured storage, I think we're talking
right,
about very secure storage when it came to.
yeah, there's other things the Lions have got, there's some high value stuff that they've got.
Yeah.
needs to be
Yeah, I'm not trying to make you out to be a
Right.
bunch of drunks, but.
Yeah.
Uh. Okay, so let's keep this on the agenda. You guys are moving back and. Moving forward with this and, I have one other question or thought. Oh, so a benefit of this is, Terry and I were talking about this today. That would give us a tremendous amount of storage
Absolutely.
down there. We could build some shelving. Something that got, maybe 6 inches up off the ground, so we don't have to worry about flooding or water or anything, and that would be really helpful here, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really helpful. I mean, it's quite a bit of room there if it's just storage, and I don't see it personally suitable for much else.
No.
It's certainly not ADA accessible and, so I see that as a side benefit, a good positive thing, so. Okay. Oh, it's early. So we had other adjustments, correct?
Main seat, who, main co-seat.
Yeah, you got a document for us to approve there, or?
The one that is.
Stipulated judgment order.
Yeah.
Oh, was it,
I think we just need to authorize Kirsten to file it, right? Or do we need to sign it?
I think we just have to authorize Kristen.
Yeah, I
to
don't
sign it.
think there's nothing to.
well, we're technically, yeah,
Executing the.
we're technically notifying the court that they've satisfied the terms of the stipulated judgment in relation to Maine Coast Seafood. And I think we're all okay, right? That the remediation work is complete
I think it was.
and,
Yeah.
and they're done.
Yeah, so if she needs a motion, I would move to authorize Kirsten to notify the court.
I would second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Great. So the quick claim deed for the George. George Washington Neal, which is the property down here on the left, a little yellow house.
Yeah.
That the town, tax acquired. Terry has indicated that the bank, although at least initially indicated they were willing to pay. They have a mortgage on it,
Yes.
or had a mortgage on it. That's probably extinguished now that we own it. I don't know how that works. Yeah, I think Eileen supersedes any other lien, I'm pretty sure. So.
John, what's the address, please?
71 Spruce Head Road, map 13, lot 13.
And I'm confused as if there was a mortgage on it. Why didn't they pay the taxes?
Yeah.
Previously? Why didn't the mortgage company pay the taxes previously?
I don't know.
Or at least ensure that they
It may
were?
have.
Typically
not
they
been
do.
written that way.
Typically they do,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. I mean, yeah, because when Eileen foreclosed, it superseded, that's not the word, but it
Right,
superseded their lien, and now they don't really have a mortgage.
correct.
Although if we tax it, if we convey it back to the heirs of George Washington Neal, I think they do, because Kristen said then the bank probably would do the heavy lifting and find out who owns it,
Right.
who are the heirs of George Washington Neal, and we don't have to do any of that, and they can foreclose on it and let them do the work. The only thing would be, unless we want it, you know, I was thinking, I mentioned once about parking, but I looked at it more closely, and it's quite a ways away from Gilbert
Yeah.
Butler.
Yeah.
It's too far up the street. So I don't think we want it as a town. I can't see a use for it.
Yeah, but
But having said all that, the bank hasn't paid.
Not yet. But she did ask for a payoff for 30 days ahead so that they could get it together.
So,
I did reach out to her today, but I did not hear back from her.
so I would suggest that we, if you're so inclined, that we move to execute the quitclaim deed and only release it upon the bank paying for not only the foreclosure year, but everything. that-
All the
oh,
expenses.
All expenses and outstanding taxes due today, like
Yeah.
current
yeah,
tax.
I agree with that.
I don't wanna get messing around with 1 year and,
Yeah.
Right, because we'll be back in the same boat in December.
yeah. And there's no one living in there, so. Yeah.
John, how many years of taxes for this one?
Well, I don't know how many tax years are still outstanding. This year's foreclosed, so there's no longer taxes. So there'd be the current year,
22, 23, and 24.
Thank you.
22 is foreclosed,
right,
so those are no longer taxes.
no, but you still want the money.
Yes,
Yeah.
Right,
22, 23, 24.
they're no longer taxes. So, okay,
So
so,
moved.
so move,
second,
okay.
Does Moira have that? You got it all?
Yes, that's why I had asked a couple more questions there.
And then, just so it was clear, we'll leave it up to the town administrator to only release it when and if all the
all expenses there.
expenses, taxes and former taxes and costs are satisfied.
Do you wanna wait and sign it once that comes?
I trust you.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Okay.
I come in tomorrow and sign anyways, but you only need 2. We gotta vote on it first, though. All those in favor? Okay, well, that hopefully clears that up. So what do we have left? Tax required, 1 or 2?
Austin's house around the corner in the village.
What about the one up your road up Westbrook?
I thought they paid
Yeah,
Okay,
that
Yeah.
one
I think,
this year.
I think that's the only one left,
Yeah.
but it might be another one.
so and the 90-day clock's ticking,
Yes, you do.
and they indicated they came in and asked what they had to do not to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I gave them the deadline that we were gonna list it.
Okay, so we're down to 1. And we won't have to deal with this again until September or December. I love it that our taxes foreclose right before Christmas. I don't really. I don't really,
It
but,
does seem kind of grinchy, but
yeah. Okay, further adjustments, Lions Club stipulation for claim deed. Correspondence from Linda. We got a correspondence from Linda Garrett regarding, quarry issues. I thought we had a fairly long discussion with her about that. And kind of told her what she needed to do if she wanted to make a move in that direction. And I guess, I offered to talk with her personally to kind of guide her through with the understanding that, not guide her through, but to explain to her, town meeting and how that would work and so on and so forth, but with the understanding that I would be speaking only for myself, not for the board. And she was gonna call me, but she didn't. And then we had the issue, I think we're settled on that, where her husband wanted to speak to the town attorney and,
no, it wasn't her husband, it was someone else.
okay. Okay,
But
all
yes,
right, my apologies, that's
Yeah.
right. But that's not gonna happen,
No.
right? Okay. Do you guys agree with that? I mean, I don't think we can have
Right.
people with strong opinions one way or another all of a sudden calling the town attorney.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, if they want an attorney, they need to go get an attorney,
Right.
you know?
But
So,
didn't somebody from a planning board?
he's on the plan.
yeah, but one member whose
Yeah.
voice, according to Terry,
But, and here's the issue I've got with that person. The planning board, when it is overseeing a permit application, becomes a semi-judicial position, board. And they are obligated to not have already decided in one direction or another until they see the permit before them and hear the arguments. And in fact, if somebody says that they already have a predisposed position on it, it makes any kind of a decision by the planning board with that person on it, not declaring it and
Yeah.
recusing themselves, overturnable, by anybody.
yeah, and I'm not saying he,
Makes it
I'm not saying
appeal.
that statement's been made.
Right.
I just understood from Terry that this gentleman has a fairly strong opinions regarding this.
And what I'm saying is he has now said that
Well, I don't know that
in
he
an
has.
email And if he doesn't want to give anybody an opportunity to appeal the decision of the planning board, then he needs to recuse himself when it comes time to vote.
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Well,
I haven't seen an email from him saying,
well,
have you?
Saying that he's,
Saying,
Yes.
taking a
Strongly
position,
yes,
huh?
oh, he's,
Yes.
yeah, his emails are, he's strongly opposed to this.
if he said he's strongly opposed to it, must have a moratorium.
Oh, I missed that then. I saw your email where you said he was,
Yes, he's strongly opposed to rock quarrying.
huh?
He's strongly opposed to the rock quarrying.
Yeah, well, you're right, he's taken himself out of the decision-making process then, yeah. And I guess that's for a matter for the herb to deal with, but anyways, back to Linda's letter, they're all related, so, one thought that came up was the moratorium, which we were hoping to be able to chat with Kristen a little bit about tonight, because that gets complicated, you know, depending on its retroactivity. It's a moratorium, if enacted by town meeting, would not, it's clear to me, reading this material again today, would not affect what he's currently permitted.
Correct.
Right.
Would it affect what he's amending or proposing for an amendment is unclear to me. And that would depend on different dates and when it was filed, and if the application is deemed complete, and I don't have those facts, so I don't even wanna get into them here tonight, but,
Fine.
but, you know, but I will admit, having said that, that I do think our ordinances don't effectively address mining and mineral extraction. I mean, we lump it under industrial, which is everything from making widgets to mining gold. I mean, that's quite a range, you know, so anyways,
and because it is inadequate in my mind, one of the solutions is to have a moratorium until we, but the objective would be in that moratorium period to draft an ordinance that covers that gap.
an amendment,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and it would have, yeah, that has to be the goal.
now, but if you look, and it's even in these documents that you saw, that the reason for a moratorium is you do a moratorium because there is no other way to fix it. And in this case, there's nobody else that is clamoring to do this. And he's already got a permit for what he's doing. So I don't think a moratorium is the appropriate tool.
But he's looking to expand that.
Yeah, but that's right now up to the planning board. The planning board can say.
Yeah, because
yes
there
or
was a
no.
moratorium, they may be prevented from reviewing an amendment application.
Correct.
They may not either, and that's why I thought we needed to talk with Christian, but I don't think it would hurt to at least start heading down this road, whether it affects this piece of property or not.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
so I just wanna make sure, I guess, in terms of Linda's correspondence,
Well, two different people have approached me and said that they are looking into language from other towns.
we told them to do that.
And I said, as soon as you do, let me know, and we'll get the ordinance review committee together to craft the language that's needed for it. And then the ordinance review committee would take it to the select board and request that it be put on the town meeting agenda. And it wouldn't have to be grassroots trying to foster something up with a petition or something.
Right, and you know, and quite frankly, I would like, with zoning ordinances and things of that nature, I would like to avoid the petition, because
I agree.
typically they end up just, no offense, sloppy language, unless they go out and hire a planning attorney.
Well, yeah, and to be frank, they, many times they aren't, the language isn't something the that the select board should even allow to go to the town to be voted on because it's illegal in the language. And there's many ways, especially if you're gonna do a moratorium or you're gonna take away property rights from people for you to propose something that's illegal.
So, long and short of it, do we think the board needs to respond to Linda's letter in the short term, or is my phone call to her satisfactory at this point?
I think it's satisfactory,
Okay.
as long as she is working to try to bring something back to us
Yeah.
on.
Okay, I just didn't want her to feel she was being ignored.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
But again, I thought we had a lengthy discussion with her and. But it is common, I will admit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would like to pursue. Try to get Kristen available either for a telecon, a Zoom meeting or something, or a next meeting. I don't even know what our next meeting is.
22nd, oh, after the budget meeting.
Well, not counting budget.
The 22nd,
Yeah. I mean, I could even do a 5 minute after the budget meeting, one of the budget meetings too, if that worked out.
Yep.
Right, I don't know if you guys could, but,
Yeah,
I can.
okay. Okay,
so you want me to see if she's available any night next week?
that'd be fine with me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking 10 minutes.
Yeah, what? I mean, I don't know how long the budget meetings will go.
I know, she just have to be,
Available when we're
yeah,
ready?
yeah,
Okay,
you know, if she's kind of free one night, we could just text her 5 minutes before and,
okay,
we can adjust the agenda. Cause the agenda's gotta go out tomorrow, so.
yep,
And we're not gonna do anything at that meeting other than get her. All right, that it on the adjustments?
yes.
Terry, could we skip the building fees and go to the executive session?
Sure.
No,
I mean, I don't, is there gonna be a lengthy discussion on the building fees?
well, I just thought David and Jerry have sat here a long time and.
Oh, well, I'm ready to make a motion to approve the proposed new fees, permit fees.
and I'll second that. Huh?
Can I have the?
Further discussion?
I think it's about time.
Do you wanna just give that to them?
Further discussion? All those in favor? I'm abstaining, I haven't looked at them.
And then we do have $1,000 donation to the fire department.
We do?
Yeah.
That on the agenda?
Yeah.
It's in the background notes and the donations.
So
I didn't read those either. No, I'm kidding.
I'll make a motion to authorize or to accept a $1,000 donation from Peter Mecklenburg and Kristen Wright to the fire department.
And you didn't know this was coming?
I'll second that.
I don't even know who they are.
Well, Kristen Wright is on the auxiliary board.
I don't know either one of them.
Yeah,
Their daughter was the doctor that
Yeah.
was.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
With the accident.
Okay.
yeah,
And
when the
he
boat,
was a doctor in bed,
Yes.
and they
Okay.
moved here and they're involved in the community quite a bit.
yeah,
Perfect.
you must have put out their burning car or something.
Well, last month they donated to the ambulance.
Ambulance,
Oh,
$1,000
okay.
on
So,
the 18th.
all right, and that's good. Warrants, we're dealing with here, future meetings, okay, we have our budget committee meetings. April 14th at 4. April 15th at 5, everybody circle that. April 16th at 4, and that's primarily, if not exclusively, fire and ambulance, right? And the 17th if needed. And we have a meeting scheduled for the 22nd of April. We probably ought to start looking at May, right? No? Yes? Hard to believe, May. Is it ever gonna warm up?
The 13th and the 27th?
Well, if I can get my calendar to come up. Dan Middleville. So we're looking at 22nd, that's good. And we're looking at the 13th and the 27th, those all look good to me. So when do those building permit fees become effective?
May first?
I'll amend my motion to effective May
It will.
1st. Okay.
And the 13th and 27th are gonna be 6 o'clock.
Yeah, well, certainly at this point, yeah. And the stickers are on sale for out there, I just bought. Yeah. And I'm sure this is gonna be very difficult. Gary, anything else?
I don't think so. I think we zipped right through everything.
Okay, is there a motion to enter executive session to discuss a personnel matter with my issue? And I assume you want to include Gary? If you don't go on. Yeah, I don't mind if you guys don't mind.
Who made the motion for the second stuff?
I'll make.
No one's made it.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to enter executive session for an executive session. In accordance with 1 MRSA 405(6)A.
Which is a personal one.
Personnel matters to discuss with the chief.
And, is there a second?
Okay.
Further discussion, I just want to announce to the public that I don't anticipate we'll be taking any action, so we'll probably not YouTube it, we'll
Reconvene,
just adjourn and move on, so.
Okay.
If that changes, and we do decide to take some action, we come out, we'll report it. Mario, thank you very much.
Yes,
again.
thank you.
By the way,
Someone will send me what time you end the meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
good job on the last one.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
Sure you don't want to do this on a regular basis, to get
No.
paid? No,
Nope.
we put some money in the budget for it.
Gary twisted my arm.
I did. It looked pitiful.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. You shut the door. Well, we gotta vote. All those in favor?
All right, I gotta.
did.
Okay, now you can shut the door.
I'm having trouble getting out of here.
Huh?
I'm having trouble getting out of YouTube. I
That
really
went
want to stop.
Quicker than I thought.
Yes.
I didn't think we were gonna get done.
I didn't either.
Good job pulling that budget together, Terry. That
Yes,
was
thank you.
difficult.